What's up, everyone, and welcome to Robitech, where I, Justin Roby, aka Roby1 Kenobi, talk tech with you wonderful, wonderful people. We're going to get you up to speed on everything going on in the PC hardware and gaming world. In today's episode, ZeniMax has to refund Fallout 76 players in Australia. We've got your Halo Reach PC flighting details, Blitzchung signs with TempoStorm, and more. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some Robitech. Actually, you can also take a little moment and click on that little subscribe button. That would be super awesome. Outside of that, I feel like this is a good place to put that awesome logo right here. Fallout 76. Man, by now everyone should be aware of the nuclear pile of two-headed cow poo that is Fallout 76. And I'm actually even more excited about the awesome animation that Brian's going to put right in here. Throw in the challenge. Recently, the ACCC in Australia, that's triple C thick, guys. The ACCC in Australia ruled that ZeniMax, the parent company for Bethesda, would be required by law to refund players in Australia for the game for players who got the game between the game's launch on November 24th, 2018 and June 1st, 2019. According to a statement by the ACCC, man, it just never gets old to say that, ZeniMax acknowledged that they were likely to have misled customers about their consumer guaranteed rights in relation to their online action game, Fallout 76. Apparently, the ACCC had never played it because they called it an action game. That's funny. This is on the heels of the ACCC receiving numerous, and I do mean numerous, complaints that ZeniMax was refusing requests for refunds despite graphical issues, server lag, problems with the servers, and visual issues. In Australia, consumers have a right to refunds for faulty or damaged products or if the products differ drastically from its description when they received it. The ACCC is no stranger to implementing refund change in the gaming industry after they filed a lawsuit against Valve a few years back about their insufficient refund policy back in 2015 that caused them to implement a sweeping refund policy across the board. Are you from Australia and bought Fallout 76 and plan on getting a refund for Fallout 76? Let us know in the comments below. Ah, Blitzchung. It just never seems to end. Well, this time, it's good news. He joined TempoStorm. Now, while esports news isn't always something we feature on the show because, let's be honest, that could be its own show, this particular story is interesting. Everyone is well aware of Blitzchung after the Hearthstone Grandmasters in China and his support of the Hong Kong protesters and subsequent ban, then slightly less ban, but still a ban, which is all really weird. I guess it's technically a suspension. Well, anyway, TempoStorm has since decided to expand their global presence in the Hearthstone scene by signing Blitzchung for their roster. Aside from just being really dope at Hearthstone, I mean, he was the Asia Pacific Grandmaster, it shows TempoStorm's commitment to player and creator advocacy. TempoStorm CEO Andriy Yankuk, good luck with that, Roby, is actually what Josh said, so he knew I was going to butcher that, and that makes me feel even worse. Stated that they believe that first and foremost in supporting players and encouraging them to engage and to speak out about things which they are most passionate, and that he being Blitzchung, exemplifies what Tempo believes in, and would welcome him as an ambassador to the brand. But Blitzchung still has a 6-month ban from competing in tournaments, so what's he going to do with TempoStorm in the meantime? Well, he's going to increase his streaming presence and continue to train and represent the team abroad. But please, Blitzchung, do not stream from 7 to 9 p.m. Wednesdays weekly on Mixer because we have Robitech, and that would just be horrendous. We should have nobody streaming during that time. You should only be watching Robitech. That is a public service announcement right here.
Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
MCC Halo Reach on PC. Well, my good friends over at 343, where I work, have released a ton of information about the PC version of Reach. Now, we are going to give you a broad strokes here. Interested players should definitely check out the blog post over on Halo Waypoint. We'll make sure we put that in the description below. There's currently a flight of the game out in the wild right now as of October 29th, following the build for the Xbox One that came out earlier this month. The PC testing will go from the 29th through the 5th and currently has 2 campaign missions, 2 campaign missions, firefight matchmaking for Beachhead, Corvette, Holdout, and 2v2, 4v4, 8v8 multiplayer matchmaking across a bunch of maps. There are set days coming to test specific multiplayer modes, so check out the website for those. You might be seeing this right as it ends, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go see if you can get a hold of the beta. Now we've got a list of what the Windows 10 and Steam crossplay support looks like, things like leaderboards, checkpoints, medals, and more. We also got a snapshot of what the matchmaking system could look like for the launch of Reach on PC. We got 1v1 Slayer, 2v2s, 4v4s, 8v8, 8 and 12 player free-for-all. There's so much dope stuff coming for MCC on PC, like legacy content, Xbox One MCC migration, customization, progression, and more. But wait, guess what we got? We got specs. Now listen to me. Come in close. Come in really close. You have no idea how excited I am that I can finally talk about PC specs for Halo Reach. Now we've got the minimum specs for the game all up, specs for 1080 and specs for 4K, for both AMD and NVIDIA build. It's almost like they have someone who builds PCs on the regular working there to give them insight into what matters to PC gamers. So across the board, 8 GB of RAM is the bare minimum spec, so let's just get that out of the way right now. Now for low-end specs, our AMD build recommends at least an AMD Phenom 2 x4 960T. Now to be super clear, an AMD Phenom 2 x4 was the first CPU that our producer Josh built so there is such a thing, coupled with an AMD HD 6850 GT. The Intel NVIDIA build lists sports an i350 and the GTS 450. For 1080p gaming, we've got the AMD FX 4100 and Radeon R7 360 for Team Red, while Team Blue, see what I did there? Red versus blue, is rocking the i7 870 and GTX 560 Ti. Now for 4K gaming, the AMD minimum specs is the FX 6350 paired with the Radeon 480. And for Intel and NVIDIA, that's the i5 3450 with a GTX 770. Whew, that was a lot of numbers and letters all put together, but it does mean something. Now this is all targeted for frame rates in the low 50s to low 60s, so keep that in mind. As always, there are minimum specifications, so to anyone running a new Ryzen 3rd Gen with an RX 5700 XT or a 9900K with a 2080 Ti, you're good. You have nothing to worry about. I mean, seriously, those other specs were way behind. Now, Intel's i9-9900 series reviews and specs are starting to come out. Continuing the hardware theme, Video Cards has a handy little chart comparing all the specs and price points for Intel's 9900 lineup, from the 9900T all the way up to the freshly released 9900KS. I'm just a little bit bitter that we did not get a KS, Intel. It's like, come on, AMD sends this stuff. Jeez, get with the program, Intel. Well, reports are in that it doesn't look like Intel's claim that you would hit 5 GHz across all 8 #beefy cords holds true. But when you take a look at the comparison charts for the rest of the lineup, was this something we really needed? No, hold on, Team Blue, hear me out. We aren't taking crazy pills over here. A solid and steady 5 GHz across all cords is dope AF. But when you look at the 9900K, the performance only dips by 0.2 or 0.3 GHz in the later cores, which for most applications isn't going to really make that much of a difference. But for only $25 more, well, you get more power, which is more power. But don't take our word for it. Video Cards has compiled a list of nearly everyone on the entire internet that has given their 2 cents on the 9900KS, including Bitwit and Paul's Hardware. So be sure to check out more on the reviews with the new CPU before you decide to buy one. Now let's talk about the MSI X570 BIOS update. And lastly, MSI has released their X570 BIOS for their motherboard. Now, are you a busy PC gamer like me? Wow, this almost feels like an infomercial right there. Are you a busy PC gamer? Do you have a hard time keeping all your hardware sitting on the shelf? No, I'm just kidding. Are you a busy PC gamer? Do you have a hard time keeping all your hardware sitting on the shelf? Anyway, you're busy, I know it, like me. Where every second it takes to get started, gaming is so precious to you. Like me, do you agonize over boot times that take longer than 16 seconds? I bet you do. Well, then you're in luck if you own MSI products, because they've made a ton of improvements and amendments to the BIOS, But the long and short of it is that the boot times are faster and better and optimized for speedy startup. But Roby, how much faster is it? Well, hold on, I'll tell you. Using an MSI X570 MED Godlike with a Ryzen 3600 and 16 gigaderps, #gigaderps, of RAM, boot times went from 33 seconds after clearing the CMOS to about 25 seconds. Save and exit time for leaving the BIOS went from 23 to 16 seconds, and regular boot times also went from 23 to 16 seconds. Now, while these aren't Fast and the Furious super 10-second quarter-mile times, they're still pretty quick, y'all. Now let us know what you thought about the news today in the comments below. Are you getting a refund for Fallout 76 over there in Australia? Have you signed up for the Halo MCC flighting yet? How long does it take for your PC to boot up? Now while you're down there, be sure to slap that subscribe button, whip that like button, and ring that notification bell so you know every time we post a new video. And also head on over to mixer.com/Roby1Kenobi and give us a follow over there for our live show every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time. Recently we finished the He just had a stroke. Recently we finished up the Project Scorpio and McLaren Senna themed builds, so check out the VODs for those. And drop us a follow over on Twitter @Roby1Kenobi. Thanks so much for watching. Now, go play some games. Or do something else. Maybe knit. Build a baseball field. Because if you build it, they will come. I better go. I'm getting loopy.
#BeefyCores.